Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Nerd Rant. I'm Dr. Zombrain, also known as Seth, with my co-hosts.
Are you ready, Seth?
Am I ready?
Are you ready?
No, I'm not, actually. Hold up. Let me pull it back. Hey guys, I didn't stop it, by the way. I don't know what I did.
You almost had me. You almost. I'm JJK General. This is Nerd Rant.
I asked JJ if he was ready like 7 times.
Yeah.
8 times now.
Hooray.
Anyway, how's your week, JJ? How's it going?
It's been a week, dude. I am tired. It's been hot.
You're tired? So my boss left, and I have a new manager at work. He's great. He's actually getting stuff done. But before my boss left, she asked, hey, can you price the store? Like, help with pricing, because the one person's on vacation. And I'm like, I didn't respond, because that includes multiple days where I come in at 7, and then Friday coming in at 4 in the morning. Well, before she left, she decided to do it anyway.
Probably.
So on Monday I come in, okay, and why was the person that's on vacation that I'm supposed to cover there? So Monday I just did my own thing. Wednesday I didn't go to work. I'll take the bay hit because I'm not about to stalk for 8 hours because they messed up the schedule. Friday was actually really fun because I rode my bike to work at 3:30 in the morning and there's no one on the roads, so I rode my bike on the road. It was great. But I got like 2 hours of sleep because I'm not used to, like, I can go to bed at midnight and then wake up at 8.
Yeah.
I'd wake up at like 2:33. So I got like 2 hours of sleep. It was great. I'm really tired.
No,
that was this week.
It's been quite a week. I've been outside a lot because obviously at Chick-fil-A we take orders outside, and so they try and have people outside every day. And apparently like 12 employees all decided that they were all taking off to go down to Florida for a week, all at the same time. So it's all the same people there every day, and I'm one of the most reliable people outside. So they've been putting me either on cash, which is like you take the cash payments after the order is taken, or they put me as the order taker outside. So it's like there's a lot of outside happening, and it's really hot out. It's been like 90 degrees all week.
Yep.
Plus side though, we bought a shelf at Walmart and I was finally able to unpack all of my Lego sets that have just been sitting in a Rubbermaid. So I finally have all my Legos on a shelf and they look amazing and I'm so happy.
So now that you mentioned Lego, there's one other thing I want to mention about weather before we get started. But with Lego, I've been watching this one guy on TikTok who does lists, and it's been really interesting because he does sets based on like price per brick. Kind of thing. And it's been really interesting just going through like the cheapest and most expensive Lego sets like per piece and stuff like that. But when it comes to weather, did you get a lot of rain?
Yeah, actually we have been getting a good amount of rain. We had the other day.
Actually,
yeah.
Okay, how was your rain first? Tell me about your rain before I get to my rain.
So it's been sporadic in the way that like we've had a lot of rain sessions, but none of them are connected. So it's like we'll have 10 minutes of like the heaviest rain I've seen in ages. And it's like people are having to like pull to the side on the highway and just like wait with their flashers on because like you can't see anything, you can't drive, nothing. But it's like 10-15 minutes of that. And then it's like sunny skies again. And then it'll be back 30 minutes later, you know, like it's the sporadic heavy storms. And then like the other day it was like every 5 minutes we'd get a light sprinkle. Like every 5 minutes for like 4 hours straight.
So, remember Main Street? So, I was at work doing my thing. I'm like, oh wow, it's really raining. Well, then eventually when it's time to leave, Main Street was a river.
Oh, fun.
I was stuck at Giant for like 3 hours after I was done. I didn't get home till like 9 p.m. I was done at 3.
Lovely.
So remember Wise?
Yeah.
In where I live, at that town, apparently, so I heard that they had a lot of rain, right, around there, and it was flooded in front, because where I work, Giant, it was flooded in front. JJ, they had a foot of rain. Inside.
Oh.
That's how bad it was.
Dang.
We were driving every which way to try to get out of the Giant parking lot, and there was just puddles and just people trapped everywhere.
Yeah, that's rough.
The weather was rough. Anyway, now that we're done with our 5-minute intro, let's get started with our content today.
Yeah. Oh, also, just quick FYI, I am sick, so if I sound different, that's why.
He on the struggle bus.
Yep.
Anyway, franchise time. Last time we did this, I want to say, was Dragon Prince. That we just talked about a specific IP.
I think you're right, actually. Holy moly. Not counting Marvel and DC, obviously,
movie.
but like...
Yeah, not Marvel, DC, and not video games. We talk about video game IPs all the time. But when it comes to like film or movie, like franchise type of things, I think the last time we talked about something was Dragon Prince.
That was so long ago, too. Holy moly.
That was. We should definitely try to figure... Because there's definitely other franchises we could probably talk about.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're talking about How to Train Your Dragon.
Yay! Woohoo!
Because I finally watched live action. I watched live action this week. JJ, when did you see it?
I saw the week it came out. Yeah.
Week it came out? Okay. I was going to see Spider-Man, not...
Spider-Man.
Superman. I'm tired, as I said. I was gonna go see Superman, but I saw How to Train Your Dragon was still in theaters, so I took that opportunity to watch it. Because Superman, we have plenty of time. So if you guys, because I think I kind of mentioned it last week, but I do plan on watching it, and we might do a superhero with Fantastic Four at the end of the month when that comes out. Mm-hmm. So if you guys do want to see that, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell, all that kind of stuff to be notified when we do upload the superhero stuff at the end of the month. But I saw How to Train Your Dragon live action in theaters, so I figured it's finally time, which I know we talked about at the beginning of the summer when it was announced. Mm-hmm. It's finally time. Go over some of the shows, the movies, the books, all the sorts of things. So there's a lot to cover here. Because it's the entire franchise. How do we want to do this? Do we want to just go chronologically? Like, you could talk about the books, we go movies, shows, all that kind of stuff, and then we'll end with the live action?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay. So I have not read the books. JJ, I know you said you did you read them as well?
I did not read them as well, no. It was all audiobook. But yeah,
but JJ got all the way through the series. I do want to. That is on my bucket list. Things to listen to or read. But let's start that. Like, that's where the franchise started. Obviously, it's not a direct sequel. Like, the movies are not directly off the books.
I wouldn't even say it's at all related, apart from the name and possibly the fact that there's Vikings in it. Because, like...
I don't know. I started it. I got like 10 minutes in, and I can see it. Some connections with like the group of kids and stuff. So like the general premise was from the books of dragons and the Dragon Book and Hiccup and Toothless. But other than that, like actual plot,
pretty much
it's
just
different.
Kids that are Vikings. Like they share the same names as the movies. All of the dragons share the same names. But they're completely different because there's one key factor in the books that's not at all in the movies, and it's the fact that they have a language. The dragons have a language called Dragonese, and people can learn it and speak it. Hiccup learns it, and he can speak Dragonese. He talks to these dragons. Nobody else does. And that's the kind of thing that makes the bond special between them, is that they can talk to each other, and that's like the premise of the books.
Gotcha. I did get to the part where they had to find their dragon by going into the cave and pick up the egg.
Yeah.
That was definitely different.
Yeah, it's definitely a completely different idea. But the cool thing about it is when they approached Cressida Cowell with I think it was Cressida Cowell, right? That's the name. I'm not mixing that up. Pretty sure it's her. When they approached her with the movie deal idea, she was very open to changing things. Like, she had other ideas for the franchise that she wanted to, give a go. Like, it wasn't like she was like, oh, they're changing my book series. She was open to this. She liked this idea.
So one of those, like, anime movies where it's like we take the characters, like, we have this stuff set up, like, we have Hiccup and we have Toothless, but it's a different story. Like, a lot of the One Piece films, like, it's based on these characters, but it's very different plot, not canon, stuff like that.
Because I think
very different, but comes from that source.
I think if you ask like a longtime fan of the book series, like while it was coming out, they probably won't agree with me here. But I think she probably regrets starting the series the way she did, because you can kind of see as you read through the books, like the first 8 or so don't really connect to each other at all. You could probably read them out of order and it would still make complete sense. It's just like they're very much kids' books in that way. And then when you hit like book 9 through like, I think it's 12 is the last one, they're all so connected, and it kind of like, It's like you have 8 pieces of a puzzle and you don't actually start putting them together until you get to the 9th piece, right? It's like then you go back and you start threading all of those pieces together. That's kind of what she did. And I think that's kind of a sign that she regrets making them so disconnected, because the way that those last few books are, they're so connected, and it shows like, okay, she kind of learned that she has some older audience here and wanted to kind of cater to that a little more as well. And so when going into the movies, I think she realized, okay, now that I know what my audience is, let's try and make something that they are going to like a little more than something that's made for 6 and 7-year-olds, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So the end of the series is where it picked up for books, like in quality
Absolutely.
wise.
The end of the book series is where it kind of turned more into a novel rather than a kid's book.
Okay. Now I'll definitely be anticipating that. I'm just going to read through 1 through 12 in order. But I'll definitely be like I said, I do plan on reading it because I do love the franchise and I want to see where it came from. But well, that's enough about that, because we have like actual like the movies and shows that people actually enjoy, and that's what people grew up with realistically. So the first movie.
Yeah.
So before we get started, I know you're probably going to agree with me, but I'm going to say this is probably my favorite film trilogy. I think this is one of the best film trilogies of all time, like where every single movie was great when it comes to animation. At least live action, that's different because, you know, Star Wars, Marvel, stuff like that. But when it comes to animated, this is probably one of, if not the best. And I also grew up on this. Like, that's another reason why this means a lot to me. Like, I grew up on How to Train Your Dragon, and this is one of my favorite childhood movies.
Yeah. I'm trying to think now, like, if there's any other animated movies that I, like, adored as a kid. I don't think there is. I think this is, like, the one that absolutely stood out as, like, this trilogy was untouchable, right? Every single movie, they weren't, like, as big hits as the big hitters were in that time period, but all of them consistently pulled the same numbers, and the audience loved them. Like, people didn't have bad things to say until the third movie, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah. And then, like, when it comes to, like, DreamWorks, obviously other franchises like Kung Fu Panda were great, but it's just, like, something, especially for me, like, the music and soundtrack of How to Train Your Dragon, just, it was so, like, classical, and I like that type of thing. So just, it really resonated with me, a lot of the different elements when it comes to story, design, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. The first movie, how do we want to do this?
I don't know. We probably should have thought this through a little bit.
We should have thought this through, but that's part of the joy of this podcast.
Woohoo. Okay, so
you listen to our thought process.
First movie. Do we want to, like, review it? Like, talk about likes and dislikes?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Like...
It was a good movie, guys. Good movie.
Good movie. 10 out of 10. Okay. Well, let's start with the beginning of the movie. Let's just kind of like go through the movie itself. So,
okay.
You start with
Hiccup. We'll do this for the first one. Let's not do this quite as much for 2 and 3, because the first one is obviously we have the live action we can talk about, so we can parry off of that. So Hiccup, we start off with Hiccup being the scrawny little guy, who is very scrawny. He is a hiccup in life, pretty much.
That's kind of the joke.
Name. But he's big brain. All the Vikings are, you know, they're muscle. That's their entire race. That's how they work. But Hiccup has the intelligence. He's making machines. And then, you know, he also introduces some of the other kids that are around him. And they introduce the problem in his village of they don't have wolves. They don't have coyotes. They don't have hawks. They have dragons and big lizards.
Which, let me just say, as a kid, that was, like, awesome.
Like, that was scary, kind of. Like, as a kid, like, just all those dragons, especially Monstrous Nightmare, just coming on with the flames. But, yeah. And then we go through all the different dragons, and then he talks about how, like, every dragon's more and more higher ranked in danger, but also would get you a higher social class. Like, hey, I killed this dragon. Like, he was even saying, I can get this, I can get that type of thing.
Yeah. And then he introduced the Night Fury, which is, like, the king of all of these dragons. Like, the absolute rarest. Nobody's killed one yet.
Well, no. I wouldn't say it was... Would you portrayed as the alpha
No,
early
no,
on.
he was not the alpha. No, it's just like one
like
of the
leader of
rarer
pack,
dragons,
or just
like absolutely
the more
powerful.
dangerous ones.
Yeah.
Like a general type of thing. Not alpha,
Mhm.
but like definitely the one.
It's just that nobody has killed it, so it's kind of
Yeah.
like a legend.
Yeah. And then we introduce his dad, who he said, hey, he popped a dragon's head off when he was a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it. That's how you set up a character.
Yep.
Now what?
I mean, then they get into things, right? He shoots down a Night Fury. I mean, I'm sure we don't have to explain all of this, because if you're listening to this episode, you probably love the franchise. So, shoots down Toothless, meets Toothless, you know. It kind of sets up the parallel that they are quite similar.
Mm-hmm. Outcast type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, because Toothless, obviously we'll learn later, and I mean, I don't think we have to talk about spoilers here, but hey, spoilers, if you haven't seen the rest of the franchise, he's one of the last of his kind. So, just like Toothless being the only Night Fury, we have Hiccup, who's the only scrawny Viking that isn't all about killing and strength.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowly and surely, Hiccup is making a relationship with Toothless, who he damaged his tail so he can't fly away, and they just kind of bond, slowly connecting with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Asteroid gets salty, because she wants to kill a dragon and be strong, and then Hiccup is learning how to train Toothless and is pulling all those techniques in. And then eventually, Toothless starts to fly, like he gets everything set up. Yada yada. And then Hiccup has to then kill a dragon. He gets chosen to kill a dragon. JJ, that's kind of a problem when your bestie's a dragon.
Yeah, he has a differing opinion than literally everybody else on, you know, his known world.
Yep. And then what happened?
And then when he goes to kill the dragon, or not kill the dragon, when he's supposed to kill the dragon, he tries to instead show everybody that he likes the dragon and the dragons are nice, and his dad causes chaos and says no.
Always
and
the dad's like, never listen to your kid. Listen to your kid. Literally, you caused the problem.
Literally. No, he did. He hit the bar and the dragon went wild. And so then Toothless comes to the rescue and tries to save them, and in turn gets captured because he can't fly away.
Mm-hmm. It's really sad. That was a really hard part, especially the music. Oh, that hit me in the heartstrings.
Yeah. Dude, the music in this movie is absolutely insane.
It's so
Let's take a moment here and talk about that, because this is one of the only franchises, especially for kids movies, that use like a full orchestra for its soundtrack. Like, I know a lot of movies try and make like in-depth soundtracks, right? Like a lot of them succeed, right? They have good soundtracks, they have great music, but I feel like we're going so far into the like, okay, let's put a bunch of like pop songs as our soundtrack. What happened to making original scores with an orchestra, right? Like that was awesome.
I think a great example of that is like what a lot of other franchises did. How did Kung Fu Panda, right? We have great soundtracks. Hans Zimmer, Arrival of Kai in the third one, that's a bop. That's a great soundtrack. But the main one's Kung Fu Fighting. Like you said, like classic pop song. Like sometimes they throw that in there, but How to Train Your Dragon, it is from beginning to end. It is not just the main theme. It is the entire movie soundtrack. The sad moments, the happy moments, the hype moments. It is this soundtrack that they made for this franchise.
And they did the thing. I don't know if there's like a technical term for it, but they did the thing where they take the theme and they lace it into every soundtrack, right? It's like, I think Harry Potter is the one that really mainstreamed this like method. Is like they make a theme song, right? Hedwig's theme would be the one for Harry Potter. And they take it and they lace it into basically every other song in the movie to kind of signify a mood or a character appearance or something like that. And How to Train Your Dragon did this, where it's like First Flight, is that I think that's the track name. It's like First Flight or something like that.
I don't really know what it's called.
Flight
I
Test.
have like
Flight
5
Test.
different
Flight
versions.
Test. It's Flight Test. That's the one.
Okay.
Flight Test took
I have
it and
so
they,
many songs
they
in my sound.
introduced this theme, and then from every point forward from there, this theme is like intertwined with Hiccup and Toothless. You know, flying, fighting, you know, bonding, all of this. That theme is present in all of it.
It's so good. It's so
Absolutely.
good. It's like every time I hear it, like it gives me goosebumps because it especially for like me and you, like we said, we grew up with it. So when we hear it now, like not only is it so good, it's just so many memories flood back when you hear that bass drop type, not bass drop, but like that drop in music, like with the drums and everything before it starts to pick up. It's so good. But anyway, soundtrack's great. We'll talk more about the soundtrack in a little bit. But then what happened? Toothless got captured.
Then he uses him to try and find the dragon's nest. Hiccup's dad uses him to try and find their nest and their queen. And he succeeds.
Yep. And then they kill the queen too. That was crazy.
Yep. They don't kill the queen. Well, technically, Hiccup has to show up with his friends and using the dragons that they were using to train with. And they ride over to the island and they have to fight off the queen to save all of the other Vikings.
Yep. Well, I wouldn't say queen. Because I feel like queen like makes the nest more so just alpha. Like the queen is also...
No, it's not the alpha. It is their queen. Because this is a nest, right? That is the queen of the nest. She controls them with her mind. And she, you know, it's literally like a beehive, right? She is the queen bee. They bring her food. She... I don't know.
I guess it's just like what it thinks like especially like bees. I think like that's also the one that like birthed it. Like it has more, whereas it's just in charge. Like it made a nest out of controlling people, and I feel like that'd be more like in this like because they and another reason I say alpha. That's a thing that they use constantly throughout the franchise. Is alpha.
Yeah, but I feel like alpha is more the term they use in the second movie because that's when it's like actual alpha dragons. Like these ones are the alphas, the alpha species and everything. Whereas this one, it's just this minuscule hive, right? It's not like this breed of dragon is always in charge. Yeah. It's just this hive of dragons. She is the queen.
Fair enough. But then they kill it.
Yep.
Through like really intense. It was really intense. Like
strategy,
was going crazy. Like Hiccup was going crazy. Like he blew up the smoke inside the mouth, was slowly ripping the wings so that way, and then just brought it down to the ground so that way the wings would just rip. And then he just the queen just went right into that hill and exploded with like the power of a nuke.
It was awesome.
And then that's it. Oh, and then Hiccup also lost a leg.
Yes.
You know, couldn't save all of them.
I want to touch on that here, too, because this is one of the only instances that I could find in, like, this generation, like, 10, 15 years of kids' movies where they actually have permanent stakes, especially in the first movie. Like, having a permanent consequence to something that happened is crazy. Like, that's crazy talk in kids movies. They'll do like the death fake out, like, oh no, this character's dead but they're actually alive. It usually doesn't have consequence. It's usually just like, oh, we thought they were dead but they're good. No, he actually lost a leg. Like, he now has to live with the events that have happened from here on out. Like, there is no going back from that.
Yeah. I enjoy that. I think more times the hero needs to lose and have consequences. Two different things. The character doesn't always have to lose, but it needs consequences from winning. It can't just be an easy race.
This is kind of why people like put down kids movies for being kids movies. Like they won't give it a chance because there's never any actual stakes or consequences. But this franchise, it has an older audience because they are not afraid to use these actual consequences, right? They actually, in every single movie, they pull out a big stop, a big consequence for the actions that happen in the movie.
And let's continue this conversation when we get to the second movie. I think you know exactly why. Let's talk about some of the shows that happened in between. How many of the shows did you see? The main one I saw was Race to the Edge. I know there's like 10 other ones, though.
I watched all of Race to the Edge
so have I.
A while back.
I've watched it like 4 times.
I have not seen like a whole lot, but I saw it all at one point. I think it was like 5 years ago or something like that. But hold on, let me look up.
And then big thing with this show, like we're both going to talk about Race to the Edge because that's the main one we've seen. There is other shows. One of the shows sets up this one. Like throughout the series, there's the Berserker tribe and some other stuff that happens, and we meet the Berserker tribe in either like an small like special movie or I'm pretty sure a show. And so there are the shows I do want to watch more. It's just they're not super accessible. Like Race to the Edge is on Netflix. Easy, right? We both have Netflix. Whereas the other ones aren't as accessible, so it's a little more awkward to try to find and watch them.
So there are a bunch of short films. 2 like short series, and then there's Race to the Edge. So you have Legend of the Bone Napper Dragon, it's a short film. The Book of Dragons, short film. Gift of the Night Fury, that's one of the mainline ones, like one of the actual, like, we showed this to everybody ones. Dawn of the Dragon Racers, obviously. How to Train Your Dragon Homecoming, which was like the epilogue one after the 3rd movie.
Yeah, after.
And then I guess they made a campfire one.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. By the way, I'm gonna say this right now. I'm not counting that other crap as canon.
No, we're not even going to talk about that because it is.
We're not going to.
It is not part of the franchise. Let's
not
even say
canon.
its name because it doesn't exist.
Yep. I'm
then
just saying that right now.
You have Riders of Berk and Defenders of Berk, which were both like short series. I think it's like 1 season each or something like that. Like maybe 2. Very short series. And then you have Race to the Edge, which was the main series that they kept going for, I think it was like 6 years? No, 4 years.
Apparently there's some games too.
So 4 years there.
Okay, here's the shows. Riders of Berk, Defenders of Berk, Race to the Edge. And that looks like it's it, yeah. Okay. Swagalicious.
But yeah, Race to the Edge is the main one. That one was really good. That takes place in
lots
between
of seasons,
movies
lots of
1
content.
and 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so throughout the series, pretty much like we kind of see this at the beginning of 2, but throughout the series, at the beginning, it's like Hiccup wants to find more. He wants to learn more. And so he finally goes past the fog to find a new island, which is the Edge. And we just go on different adventures, and a whole bunch of stuff happens.
It's basically discovering new dragons like every other episode. They discover a new breed, a new class, something like that.
Yeah. But the main conflict is he also learns about this like telescope type thing that's a map, which I'm trying to because it's been a while since I've seen it too. Yeah. What exactly did it lead to? Was that the Alpha? Wasn't that like the entire franchise?
Because I thought
that
piece that he found was like a class of dragon or something like that, right?
Yeah, but then he had to get all of them. Like he had to combine it, and like there's multiple villains throughout the series, like a lot of different characters leading up to the merchant that also wanted it, which was like seasons in. So I think like the entire series was based around this thing that helped them learn. And also like we also are advancing the technology. Hiccup makes his flaming sword. There's an episode on that. Groncle Metal, right? We find the perfect metal resource for that. Like there's a lot of progress in the series, not just for plot, but like character development and world building.
Yeah, and I love that too because all of this stuff is used. Like it's not like they do this and then they ignore this. Which it is worth saying though, this did come out after the second movie. So even though it is a little lower quality than the second movie, it does take place in between the movies. They go back and they're like, okay, so all of this changed. So let's go back and see how it changed. Which is why they have episodes on like the flaming sword and stuff because that's stuff we see in the second movie.
Okay, so I just bought Netflix again, so I have my own account, and now I'm really tempted to go rewatch Race to the Edge.
Honestly, yeah.
It's so good. And then we also, along with meeting some new dragons, remember one of the dragons we met was, we gave to Stoic. Like, Stoic felt, like, homesick almost, but away from his child. He just missed him, he wanted to bond with him, and he couldn't really do that. Because Hiccup really took that big leap in responsibility and maturity. Because he's leading this team, the Dragon Riders and everything out there. But he gets a dragon as well. But then also, like, we meet a bunch of other characters, including the Berserkers, who's his brother, kinda. And there's a bunch of lore going on there with his sister. Like, there's some crazy stuff that happened throughout the series.
Yeah, they'd actually pull out meaningful stops in this series. It's not just, like, complete like one-off like filler episodes. It's all this stuff is connected, this stuff is important, and this this actually carries over into the movies.
And not necessarily filler, but there are fun episodes as well. Like, remember the one episode where everyone stayed awake for like 24 hours because the sun didn't go down or something? Like, there's some fun, goofy episodes in there as well. But overall, it's not an episodic thing. It is very much a full series with development within it. For the world, for characters, for relationships, for enemies to foe, like, from enemies to allies and allies to enemies. Like, there's a lot.
Basically, don't skip out on this series just because it's like a lower budget animated series. This actually does carry a lot for the franchise. So if you do like the movies, it's absolutely worth watching.
Yes. Anything else, or do we want to get into the second?
We should probably move on because we're already halfway through. So, movie 2.
Okay. So there's a lot here. We're not going to go through like the first one, right? Because we did that because we're going to talk about the live action at the end, and we're going to talk about the parallels. Let's just talk about some of the key points in this one. The first one I want to mention is, okay, so overall, who made these movies? DreamWorks, right? I want to mention that because I feel like DreamWorks is kind of like Studio Ghibli in the sense of it's definitely a titan over here in America. Like, it's DreamWorks is one of the biggest ones we have. And especially for DreamWorks, I feel like they very rarely have a bad movie. It might not be as good, but it's not bad per se as Disney, which has definitely been on the downhill lately.
Disney really doesn't know how to do sequels is the problem. And DreamWorks, at least personally, I tend to be somebody who likes a sequel better than I like the original, simply because the sequel has the ability to do more with the world and characters than the original, because the original's always locked to being an origin story, right? It has to explain things, it has to introduce the world and characters and all of that. Whereas the second one, it can take the world, the characters, it's already built, you already have an understanding, and it gets to run with it. It gets to really use those characters in the way that they were meant to be used. And so that's why I tend to like sequels more than I do the originals, and this is absolutely one of those cases. I like the second movie a whole lot more than I do the first one. Not because the first one was bad, just because the second one nailed it. It nailed the vibe. It nailed the characters. It absolutely crushed with the story.
Especially the intro to the movie. Like, it's just like, Hiccup is taller. He has that armor. He has this flaming sword. Like, he has matured. Like, he's still scrawny, right? But he's definitely grown a lot. And that was one nice thing that I liked. Actually, no, that was 3. The second one was, he still had all that, but he was out looking for dragons. Like, that's what he wanted to do. But the thing I want to mention with this one is the first movie was, the conflict was the ideologies of dragon hunting versus dragon taming, and the main villain at the end / enemy was the big queen. Whereas this one is again that ideology, but it's human nature this time, and there's an actual character as a villain, and DreamWorks does great villains. I do not think there's a bad villain out of the... Again, I haven't seen Kung Fu Panda 4, but Kung Fu Panda 1, 2, 3, How to Train Your Dragon 2, 3, Puss in Boots' Last Wish, which I haven't seen yet, but I've seen enough to know that they know how to do a villain.
Absolutely. And they find the perfect balance, too, where it's like, okay, well, this villain needs to be, child appropriate, right? Because they're making kids movies, but it also needs to be able to actually get under your skin, right? Like it needs to be able to make you upset, make you angry, like scare you. Like, it has to be able to have those effects on you to be a good villain. And do they know how to do that so freaking well?
And that's what I mean also by like DreamWorks being a titan versus someone like Disney. I feel like there's plenty of Disney villains that aren't necessarily horrible, like in current day. Back in the day, Beauty and the Beast, Ariel, like all that. They had some great villains back then, but nowadays it's just not consistent, especially when it comes to sequels. It's so repetitive, whereas these villains are different from the last.
Yeah.
They are not the same person.
I love that it pretty much mirrored the first movie too, where basically he learns and he has to show everybody that, these creatures are misunderstood. They're not bad like we think they are. They can be saved. We just have to be the ones to make that step. And then going into the second movie, he treats Drago Bloodfist, the villain, the same way. Like, oh my gosh, maybe he's not that bad. Maybe he can be saved. Maybe we just need to talk to him, right? We just need to figure this out. And the lesson learned in the end is that not everybody can be saved, right? Some people are too far gone and they just have to be dealt with.
which is what Stoic tried to put out at the very beginning. Like, when the conflict started and we saw what happened with these dragon trappers, Stoics, and when we learned that it was Drago Bloodfist, and Stoic heard that name, it's like, no, we are not talking to him. We're locking down the island, because war is inevitable, and this is not a 1v1. Like, this is thousands versus us.
Yeah.
It will be an intimidating battle.
Just like in that first movie, because Stoic didn't listen to Hiccup, there were consequences. He lost a leg. And because Hiccup didn't listen to Stoic here, there was consequences. He lost his father.
And like that, well, before we get to there, right, with the loss, when we have that introduction of who he is, Stoic was the only chief that survived. Drago was like, you have to like tame the beast, like through this violent means, not through friendship, but through fear and power. And so there was this whole chief meeting, and dragon just came down, swarmed down, killed everyone. Stoic was the only chief that survived. So we are like, this character is introduced as someone who will kill, which again, for a kid's movie, is rough. That's not what happens.
Yeah.
So not only is we're introduced, that's how we are, to death and violence. Like you said, he eventually loses his dad. Toothless gets controlled by the Alpha, which we'll talk about in a minute, and tries to fire at Hiccup, but then Stoic jumps in and saves Hiccup. And dies.
Yep, he actually dies.
Dead,
like,
dead.
Full on, no fake out, like, he is dead.
We have a Viking burial for him. Like, we send off a boat, and we shoot fire arrows, and we have some sorrow Viking,
which
like,
is
monologue.
Freaking crazy for a kid's movie. Like, even if there is a death, they usually do not spend time on it, but they did here. They actually, like, dwelled on this, showed the pure emotion in these characters. Like,
I cry, like, every time.
They wrote this so freaking well. They did such an amazing job. And that's one of the things that I think makes this movie so much better than the original, is just the fact that we get to actually see this, like, raw emotion from these characters that we've seen, and we thought they were safe. This was a kid's movie, and then they pull out something like this again, and it's that much worse than the first movie and its consequences.
And another big thing with this is, we didn't mention at the beginning, was Stoic talked to Hiccup about becoming the chief, and Hiccup didn't really want to. But now that Stoic's gone, that's the other reason. Like, he now has to pick up that mantle, whether he likes it or not. JJ, we are almost 40 minutes in. We have the third movie and live action.
We didn't even talk about Hiccup's mother.
Yeah, so let's try to speed this up. In this movie, we also learn about Hiccup's mother. The biggest thing about this was, though, like, I don't want to say Race to the Edge before, too, but it's definitely when I was watching Race to the Edge. At the end of the movie, we fight over this egg, and we find the Alpha. And then at the very end, like, the last frame, like, with the outro and everything for the last episode, last season, was this figure picking up the egg. That egg and figure was the mother and the Alpha, or the Bewilder Beast, of the main nest in the second movie, which was amazing. Like, that was insane when I saw that.
Yeah.
The Alpha has the ability of ice, and is truly an Alpha, in control of the nest of all dragons, massive beast, and has the ability to, like, control, like, with his mind as well. And so the main conflict is Drago Bloodfist also had a Bewilder Beast. So it was Alpha versus Alpha. And so it was the black versus white, good versus dark, which I'm really happy they did that. That's kind of corny, but I felt that was a really good use of that black and white, like, good versus evil color scheme. And then his mom comes up, makes him chief, everything like that, and happy-go-lucky, like, Toothless, the bond of friendship overcomes the Alpha powers. Like, they have full trust in each other by, like, covering his eyes and ears so he doesn't, like, get tamed, and just fully relies on Hiccup, which was a great moment of fellowship and bonding there. Anything else, really? Other than...
I think
actually, yeah. Okay, so let's just real quick. First movie, out of 10. What are you giving it? Let's do this.
8.
Okay, I'm gonna say 8.5. 8.5. Race to the Edge, whole series.
7.
I'm gonna say 8. Like, it was good. Second movie.
10.
10. I'm gonna give it an 11. I'm gonna give it an 11. Ooh.
Like, absolutely amazing.
No, seriously, I cry every time Stoic dies. Like, they hit it home. It's so good. Now the third movie. When you start talking about it, I'll probably remember it more. This is the one I've seen the least. That's not because it's bad. That's because how many opportunities did we have on DVD with the first one as a kid, right? Like,
Yeah.
I watched that over and over. It's not that it's bad. It's the fact that I didn't have the opportunity to watch it all the time. I watched it in theaters when it came out. I do have the DVD now of 1, 2, and 3, and I do want to rewatch it. I just didn't get a chance. But
I watched it recently because I actually had to introduce Lexi to How to Train Your Dragon. She had never seen any of them, so I got to watch through that series with her, and we watched the third movie not that long ago. So it's still fairly fresh on my memory. So I'm gonna do my best here. But the third movie, basically, it introduces the concept of this hidden world, right? This hidden world of dragons elsewhere. And
end of the world too, right? Over the cliff, because this is Viking time, flat world. By the way, you have 5 minutes.
Oh gosh. There are people like seeking it out and trying to find it so that they can, control dragons, dragon hunters again, wearing dragon skins, trying to poach them, whatnot, train them, kind of like Drago Bloodfist, which I will say is one of the main flaws of this movie. The villain in this one didn't feel as strong as the previous two, just because the focus of this movie was not the moral struggles of the characters. It was more so, we're finalizing the franchise. We're trying to, make these bonds feel final. And so they were trying to find this hidden world. And basically by the end, Hiccup realizes that there's always going to be people hunting dragons.
Yeah.
And he needs to seal away this hidden world, right? All of the dragons need to leave and to hide because as humanity is right now, there's no way for them to live together and be safe.
Mm-hmm. And the big thing here with this movie is the fact that it's not just he's hunting dragons, the main villain. He hunted Night Furies. He hunted them down to extinction. Like, that's what he is.
Yeah.
That's why and that's why it's so big. Like, there's one more Night Fury left. It's Hiccups, and he has to save his best friend.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, he's getting to the edge to make sure his best friend will survive and be safe away from humanity, because there will always be people after him.
Exactly. So in the end, they say goodbye to their dragons and they seal them away into this hidden world, and they head back home. They live life as they were without dragons.
Normal Vikings.
Which is
another big thing. Before we get to the end, is throughout the series, Toothless does find a friend. There is a Light Fury, and which is girl. So finds a partner. And that's another big thing throughout the series is that's the conflict. Toothless is trying to save his girlfriend, pretty much, from this hunter.
But it actually turned out that this Light Fury was being manipulated by said hunter to try and lure Toothless in.
Do you remember his name at all?
I don't. I'm gonna be completely honest.
I like his model though. I like the way he looks. Like he's just like Hiccup too, right? That's another big thing. He's also smart. He's uses strategy. He's tall and skinny. He's not this big bulky Viking type of guy. It is very much intelligence and strategy in this one.
Yeah.
Versus just raw strength. Whoever controls the alpha controls them all. Which is very much.
It's really cool to see. Hiccup having to basically face an evil version of himself to an extent, right? Like, you have to be able to fight what you fight with if you want to be able to succeed.
Yeah. So, that's another big thing, and why I really enjoy. I think that might be my favorite villain of the series. Just because of that. Like, that parallel there of Hiccup, good versus bad. That easily could have been where he goes. Like, if he killed dragons, he could have easily had that intelligence to kill dragons.
Yeah.
And he would have been a threat.
Yeah. But like I said, he realizes that you cannot live in harmony with people like that still out there. So they have to say goodbye and seal them away. Toothless and the Light Fury, they start a family. They have little baby Nightlights is what they're called. And Hiccup and Astrid get married. They're Chief and Chief's wife. I don't know, Miss Chief. I don't know how that works. But, they start their own family as well. And by the end of the movie, you get to see a clip of, the Nightlights and Hiccup and Astrid's kids. And they meet each other and they see each other and they spend a day together. And then they head back.
It was so cute and adorable.
Have you seen the epilogue short film? Homecoming?
The that's like winter, right?
Yeah.
pretty much.
Okay.
That's again, like, it's not that I didn't want to, it's just it was harder to watch. So I feel like I watched that mostly through clips rather than being able to sit down and watch it because it wasn't.
I think it was on Peacock.
accessible.
I think it came out on Peacock as like an exclusive,
Yeah,
and you
so
had to be subscribed to Peacock.
I wasn't gonna see it on Peacock.
Dude, I just pirated it. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I just pirated it because I think Peacock's stupid.
I would now, but back when it came out, I don't think I was doing that as much.
Yeah.
So
no, now I have a disc version of like all 3 movies plus Gift of the Night Fury and Homecoming. So
nice. Yeah, I have the disc of 1, 2, and 3. It's great. Anyway, anything else about this movie, like plot, character development that you want to mention?
I don't think so. I mean, it's worth mentioning. People didn't like this ending. A lot of people were like, they were hoping for a happy ending, right? They were hoping for, we want good conclusion, a nice ending to our story. They were very much let down by the like, okay, so we're ignoring everything we've learned thus far and, saying goodbye and just putting it all behind us. But I feel like it's kind of missed that people don't realize that, while yes, they were trying to make a playful explanation as to why we don't have dragons in the real world, they were also trying to teach this lesson that you can't always win the battles, right? There's not always going to be a good solution to the problem. You have to do what you can for the people you care about, and if that's not what you were hoping for, you don't always have the choice, right?
Again, why How to Train Your Dragon is such a great franchise. There's consequences. It is not always happy. So let's end now. What would you rate it out of 10?
I would put this one at probably probably 7.5.
I'm gonna say 7, but again, I probably would rate it higher, maybe 8. But I just haven't seen it as much. So, like, I just don't know it as well. So I'm gonna give it a 7. I know very well that it was not a bad movie.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely,
I enjoyed
great
it.
movie.
I watched it in theaters. Especially quality-wise of animation. I think that's another fun thing when you go through the franchise, 1, 2, and 3. You look at the animation over the years and just how much it's come.
Absolutely. It was a visually stunning movie.
So 3, like the visuals, like all the vibrantness, like the Hiccup's hair.
Yeah.
Even. Great. But yeah. Now let's get into the live action that just came out.
Yeah.
So we have 12 minutes left.
We got this, though. Leading up to it, there was a lot of skepticism because nobody knew if it was going to be a departure from the original or a shot for shot. Because when the trailer came out, it was a shot for shot. Like, every shot was a shot from the movie, like the animated movie. And even if it was shot for shot, it's a live action which has skepticism. Yeah. There is not... The only live action I can think of that I've enjoyed was One Piece. And even then, I have a lot of problems with it. I do not think it is as good or better than the original. Yeah. I think it is the best live action. I don't think it's that... And on top of that, the director/writer himself was saying that, yes, he made changes to it and that he thinks people are going to like them, which nobody has liked changes to live actions. And hearing that he is openly admitting that there are some, people got worried. But lo and behold, when the movie came out,
safe to say it comes out.
Yeah, and it was literally shot for shot like the original. They added like maybe 2 or 3 scenes and a little more, like a few more lines to extend some characters. But aside from that, it was literally the original movie. No changes.
There were changes, but they weren't major changes. As of instead of on a tree, she's on a cliff.
Yeah.
Which was like also real life, by the way, right? They were recording over there. That was an amazing shot. Yeah. I loved that. And also, question, original soundtrack? It sounded really close. Was it same?
I don't think they just brought it over. Close? I think they just redid it with an orchestra. Like, I think they just literally brought in an orchestra and
what I'm saying.
They made
like,
some
it wasn't
changes.
remixed or anything.
No, I think
it
they
was
used
the
it.
same.
Yeah.
That was also, like, when I started, like, watching, and I was watching, like, is this this is just 1 for 1. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah. But no,
I am very pleasantly surprised.
What did you think of the changes that they did make? Like Astrid's jealousy over him being son of the chief and, like, Snotlout having a weird relationship with his father.
Okay, Snot Loud was peak. I very much felt that in the show, and so I'm enjoyed that they brought that over. I didn't think it really changed it in a bad or positive way, but it was definitely entertaining.
I personally didn't like it. I just want to make a note there. I don't think that was good. Like, I enjoyed it in the show. It was a funny shtick, but I feel like in the movies, he had such a different character. Like, he was the brat, right? He was the bully brat, and there was really no explanation for it. He was just mean to Hiccup, and that's just how it was. He was snarky, he was an idiot. And adding that facet and focusing on it so much in his very few scenes in the movie, it just kind of made him feel like a sad wimp. Like, it didn't actually come across like he was a bully anymore. It didn't come across like Hiccup thought he was a threat and was scared of him. It was literally just like, he was just sad. Like, it just kind of like defeated his character.
That's fair. I see what you mean. This is definitely a little rough. And then for Astrid, I thought that was a very interesting change. With that kind of stuff. I'm mixed on it. It's definitely not like Snot Loud, like, again, I don't mind it as much. But this one definitely was different in a way. I don't really know if I would say it for better or worse.
I honestly don't think it's either. I will say my main nitpick with it was that in the original movies, she just doesn't like anybody. Like, she's like that to everyone, not just Hiccup. It's like she is a tough person. She puts on the front, she plays it cool, and that's just how she is to everyone. Whereas adding this in makes it seem like it's specifically to Hiccup, when in the movies it wasn't. It was to everybody. So, I don't know, it kind of made him feel a little singled out.
There was something else, too, about that. Like, it's just hard trying to picture all the differences, because there definitely was. I think another big thing was something about his dad. I can't remember right now.
Yeah,
but,
I don't remember.
Like in that scene where he's at his house. I don't remember. But I will say Stoic. I also will say generally the casting was also great. I'm very happy with the casting. Everyone looked very similar. I love Rough and Tough. I don't think there's really that much about Astrid other than she is black versus...
I didn't like the casting. That was my main upset at the entire movie, was I feel like their casting was so off for so many people. Because, okay, Stoic was the one character who was like, okay, perfect guy, because it's literally the voice actor from the animated movies. Like, he does a great job, he did a great job, bring him back, that's awesome. I'm not saying you have to do that for every character, just he was a good choice. Everyone else, Hiccup was okay. I feel like his voice was not nearly
The
close
voices
enough.
were different. The voices were different. But
I feel
here's
like
the thing from you versus me is I've also watched how much anime, and the reason I say that is like I'm used to voices being different.
Yeah.
From, for example, One Piece, right? I watched it dub. I'm stuck with these voices, and then I watched sub because I wanted to catch up.
Yeah.
The Frankie voice actor switched. It is completely different, and because it's so long, so I'm kind of used to that. That's not as big of a conflict. Whereas someone like you, where
I feel
you're
like
used
for
to
most
those voices,
characters,
it definitely
it'd
can
be okay.
stand
But
out more.
Hiccup, his voice is so iconic that having a different one just felt wrong. Like, it felt like he was such a different character because of it. But you know what? It is what it is. It's a live action. They can't find somebody without bringing the same voice actor. I feel like Snot Loud sucked. Like, literally worst casting in the movie. He's supposed to be a brawny, muscly guy. Like, the big bully. Like, a big, muscly guy. And they got this scrawny little, like, dude who's, like, the same size as Hiccup. Like, super short. And they just put him in, like, a bunch of layers and expected it to be intimidating. That was so sucky.
I didn't mind it as much. The biggest thing with Hiccup was I think it's just kind of hard because if they're going to do a second one and they have an actor for it, they couldn't really find someone so short because voice acting is big in this one because it's the same voice.
Yeah.
I will say that was definitely different and why I think the original is better. There's a lot of reasons why it is, but that's one of the big things. Because I forget if I told you or I said in the podcast, I did have a coworker saying that this is 10 times better than the original. I do think it was phenomenal. I thought it was amazing. It's not better than the original.
No. It is the best live action we've gotten, but absolutely not better than any of the animated movies. It's just a great way to bring it to the new audience.
Yeah. I also really thought Fish Legs was really good. I really liked Fish Legs.
Oh, no, because I didn't. Because he felt annoying. Like, I get that it's pretty much the same lines. Like, they gave him the same lines. But, I don't know, coming from...
I feel like Fish Legs kind of was annoying, though.
He wasn't.
Like,
he was a
nerd.
Geek. He was a geek. He was a nerd.
Yeah.
And in this one, they made him feel like an annoying baby.
I don't know. I didn't have too much of a problem with most of the casting.
I'm not saying I was like, the movie's bad because of it. It's just that was my
Yeah.
biggest qualm, and those are my reasons. They all did a great job. All of the actors did a great job. It's just
Yeah.
it's so hard to live up to these roles.
But that's the other thing, right? And with that is, no matter what they did, I feel like we would have been disappointed.
Yeah.
I don't think we would have reached, and I think that's also, like I said, with Hiccup, like to have that short guy with that voice that can then grow up into the second movie version. You just can't do that with live action as easily. That's a lot more work.
I was really scared for Astrid, but the girl for Astrid did so good, and I'm so glad they
so
kind
many
of
people
kept that flip. Where after that ride with her, she just turns nice. And it was a flaw for the animated movie. I will say it's probably the biggest flaw is that her like personality just changes. But I feel like it makes a lot more sense doing it that way because it shows that she has a wall and she finally let it down with Hiccup. And so I was afraid that they would try and make it more smooth or keep her like a tough girl even after that. But no, I'm so glad like they kept that, letting the wall down, and now she's an emotional person.
Let's talk about the fight real quick at the end. Also amazing. Like, it was so cool, and I thought it looked visually stunning, especially, like I said, because it's like, it was set in a real location, right? Like, especially when she was on the cliff, like, that was practical. Like, that wasn't like a CGI background. Like, it was so good seeing that. We have a few minutes left. Is there anything else about the final fight or anything you want to mention with the movie?
I will say this is probably the one thing that live action was like the best thing for, because obviously animated was really cool with this.
Start.
But like this fight was the reason to bring it to live action, because seeing all of this go down, seeing all of these dragons flying around, the big giant dragon up in the clouds, all of it. This was like so worth making a live action for, because it just looked legendary.
It was so good. And I think the biggest thing to remember from this is, as I mentioned it earlier, this is also the first DreamWorks live action.
It is, correct.
And so that's the biggest thing, right? When we were going into it and people were skeptical, I always would tell people, well, those live actions, Mufasa, Mulan, like all those were Disney. This is the first DreamWorks live action. We cannot base it off of Disney when it is a completely different studio.
Yeah.
Pixar is Disney. DreamWorks is a completely separate entity. So we can't really rate it on anything, right? And I, again, am very pleasantly surprised. What are we rating it out of 10?
I would say this was an 8. I can't put it higher than the original, but it was absolutely great. Great movie.
I'm going to give it 2 ratings. One as a live action adaptation, one as a solo, right? If you've never actually seen How to Train Your Dragon, I'd say from a movie, it was like an 8.5. Like, it was a solid movie. I definitely, like you said, like that fight at the end, I think can be built bigger hype because that's a wide audience. You have your kids, but you also can have adults that can enjoy that type of thing. But then for an adaptation of the original, I'd probably say 7.5. I think it was great. Like, it truly shattered my expectations. And I think this shows, I really can't wait to look at the money, right? After everything's done, because I think it's almost done in theaters. Maybe not. We don't have time to really look at the money. But just to see what it did when we have a live action adaptation that is 1-for-1 and doesn't vastly change everything.
Anyway, Seth, are you ready for the second one? Because it's confirmed they're writing it.
Yep.
I'm so ready. And did you hear that he's going to
really
add
excited.
and change a whole lot more?
I hope so, /not. I don't know.
Yep, he said he's going to add a whole bunch of stuff. So we're going to see how that goes.
Anyway, out of 10, what do you rate How to Train Your Dragon?
10 out of 10 franchise. Woo!
Woo! I'm going to say 11 because I like to one-up you. Anyway, bye, y'all.